If you are over 60, this scene may feel very familiar. You walk into a pharmacy or grocery store, standing quietly in front of a long wall of supplements. Fish oil for the heart, calcium for the bones, something for memory, something for energy. Bottle after bottle, each promising support, each adding a little more to the monthly bill. Over time, those small purchases can turn into hundreds of dollars a year. And you make those choices for a good reason. You want to stay steady. You want to keep your independence. You want to feel clear, strong, and capable as the years move forward. Many people were taught that staying healthy after 60 means taking the right pills in the right combination every single day. But take a quiet moment and consider this. What if one of the most powerful foods for healthy aging isn't found in the supplement aisle at all? What if it doesn't come in a shiny bottle or carry a familiar brand name? What if it's sitting low on a grocery shelf? Inexpensive, often overlooked, and usually ignored. It can feel surprising, especially in a culture where health is often presented as complicated and costly. Cheap foods are easy to dismiss. Canned foods are often judged before they're understood, yet the body responds to nutrients, not marketing, and biology has never cared about price tags. There is no product being sold here. No supplement, no brand, no hidden promotion. This is simply a conversation about science, about whole foods, and about how the body recognizes nourishment as we age. Stay with me until the end, because this may completely change how you think about nourishing your body after 60. And this is usually where the hesitation begins. Someone opens a can of sardines, notices the aroma, and immediately pulls back. The smell feels strong, unmistakably fishy, and the assumption follows almost instantly that something must be wrong. In everyday thinking, strong smell is often linked with poor quality. But in food biology, aroma is often a signal rather than a warning. That distinctive scent comes largely from natural marine fats that are part of the fish itself. Small cold water fish concentrate these fats as part of how they survive, and those compounds are naturally aromatic. In other words, the smell reflects what is present, not what is missing. Another hesitation comes from the word canned. For many Americans, canned food carries an outdated reputation from decades ago. It brings to mind preservatives, chemicals, and nutrition that has somehow been lost along the way. Modern canning, however, works very differently. Today, food is preserved through controlled heat and pressure, a method designed to maintain safety and stability without relying on added preservatives. In regulated food systems like those in the United States, this process is closely monitored to protect both quality and nutrient integrity. With sardines, canning creates something unique. The natural bones soften during processing and become edible, blending into the fish itself. What remains is not a processed imitation, but a whole food preserved in its own structure. Then there is the assumption tied to price. When something is inexpensive, it is often seen as inferior. Yet sardines are affordable for reasons rooted in ecology, not nutrition. They are small fish living low on the marine food chain, feeding on plankton rather than other fish. Because of this, they tend to accumulate far fewer environmental contaminants compared to larger, long-lived species. Their short lifespan also limits what can build up over time. So the low cost reflects abundance and efficiency, not a lack of value. When you step back and look at sardines through this lens, the story begins to shift. The smell signals density, not spoilage. The can represents preservation, not degradation. And the price reflects how nature works, not what the food offers. Sometimes the most important change is not in what we eat, but in how we understand it. Once the assumptions begin to fall away, a deeper question naturally appears. If omega-3 is important, why isn't a fish oil pill enough? Most supplements are built on a simple idea. Take one nutrient, separate it from everything else, and place it into a capsule. Fish oil follows this pattern. It delivers omega-3, usually EPA and DHA, and then its job is finished. Omega-3 matters, and that is well recognized. Many older adults include it because they want to support steady living as they age. Yet the body does not experience nutrients one at a time. It responds to combinations it has encountered through food for a very long time. A whole sardine is not just a source of omega-3. It arrives as a complete biological package. Alongside those marine fats come naturally occurring compounds like coenzyme Q10, selenium, vitamin B12, and high-quality protein. These elements are not added later or forced together. They exist in balance as part of the same food. This is what researchers often describe as nutrient synergy. When nutrients appear together in their natural form, they tend to be used together more smoothly. Older bodies, in particular, often respond better to this kind of cooperation than to isolated inputs. A capsule delivers a single note, a whole food offers a chord. There is population-level research that reflects this difference. In a long-term study conducted in Japan, adults were followed for about 10 years, while researchers observed dietary patterns. Those who regularly included small fatty fish, such as sardines, a few times each week showed an observed difference of around 30% in certain cardiovascular outcomes compared with people who relied mainly on fish oil. Supplements. This figure was observed in one group, and results can vary from person to person, but the contrast was notable. The key insight from that research was not that supplements are useless. It was that nutrients often seem to work best when they arrive together, the way food naturally provides them. As we move past 60, the body tends to rely less on single inputs and more on how well multiple systems work alongside one another. That difference becomes easier to notice when nourishment comes from food rather than from a bottle. As the years pass, changes in the heart rarely announce themselves loudly. Most of the time, they arrive quietly, in ways that are easy to overlook. Energy may feel less steady than it once did. Recovery after activity can take a little longer. The body still functions, but it asks for more support to do the same work. One important shift happens in the blood vessels. Over time, they may feel less flexible than before, and movement through them can feel less smooth. This is not something most people notice day to day, yet it shapes how comfortably the heart does its job. Certain fats found in foods like sardines are often described as supportive of this natural flexibility, helping the body feel more at ease during everyday activity. The heart itself is a remarkable muscle. It works continuously, day and night, without pause. That steady rhythm requires a great deal of energy, especially later in life. Some nutrients found naturally in whole foods are closely involved in how the body produces and manages that energy. Coenzyme Q10 is one of them, and it appears in sardines as part of the fish itself, rather than as an isolated addition. Another quiet influence is the wear that comes from normal metabolic activity. Every movement, every breath leaves behind byproducts the body must manage. Minerals such as selenium are often associated with the body's natural ability to handle this ongoing wear gently and steadily. When these elements arrive together in food, they tend to fit more easily into the body's existing rhythm. This is where whole foods begin to feel different from single nutrient supplements. A capsule usually delivers one focused input. A food like sardines brings several supportive elements at once, in proportions that have long existed in nature. For many older adults, that combined presence can feel more balanced and less demanding. The heart does not need to be pushed. It needs conditions that allow it to work smoothly, hour after hour. For many people over 60, the fear that lingers quietly in the background is not illness. It is falling. A simple misstep can change routines, confidence, and independence in ways no one plans for. That concern is often met with the same advice: take calcium every day, drink more milk, add fortified foods, and hope the bones stay strong. Yet many older adults follow this guidance carefully and still hear the same words at their checkups, that bone density continues to decline. This can feel confusing, even discouraging. Calcium is important, but calcium by itself does not always determine what the body can do with it. For calcium to feel supportive, it needs to arrive in the right context. Vitamin D plays a quiet role here, helping the body recognize where that mineral belongs. Without enough vitamin D alongside it, calcium may simply pass through without becoming part of the structure it was meant to support. This is where sardines offer something different. When sardines are canned, the tiny bones soften naturally and become easy to eat. Those bones provide calcium in a form that is already part of food, not separated into a pill. At the same time, the fish itself contains vitamin D, arriving together in one bite rather than from two separate bottles. For people who no longer tolerate dairy comfortably, this combination can feel especially practical. Many older adults notice that milk causes bloating or discomfort, and calcium supplements can sometimes feel heavy on digestion. Sardines offer a dairy-free option that fits easily into simple meals. Strong bones are not only about numbers on a scan, they influence how confidently someone walks, turns, or rises from a chair. That sense of steadiness often shapes how freely a person moves through daily life. Nutrition does not create confidence overnight, but the way nutrients arrive together can quietly support it over time. As people move through their 60s and 70s, changes after meals often become more noticeable. Energy may rise quickly, then fade just as fast. Some feel a heaviness or mental fog an hour or two after eating, even when the meal didn't seem unusual. These shifts are not dramatic, but they can shape how the rest of the day feels. One quiet influence here is how meals are built. When food includes protein and natural fats, digestion tends to move at a steadier pace. Energy enters more gradually rather than all at once, and many people describe feeling more even afterward. Foods like sardines naturally bring both elements together, which can feel supportive for everyday rhythm. The brain is closely connected to this experience. It is one of the most energy-demanding parts of the body, and much of its structure depends on specific fats. DHA, a form of omega-3 found in small fatty fish, is a major component of brain tissue. It helps maintain the flexibility of brain cells, allowing messages to move smoothly from one area to another. Alongside structure, communication matters. Nerve signals rely on supportive nutrients to stay clear and consistent. Vitamin B12 is often mentioned in this context, as it plays a role in maintaining healthy signal pathways. Vitamin D also appears to be involved in how brain cells manage daily upkeep and coordination. Large observational studies have explored this connection. In several populations, higher levels of DHA in the body were observed alongside slower changes in cognitive aging over time. These findings do not predict outcomes for every individual, but they suggest patterns worth paying attention to. What stands out is not one single nutrient, but how these elements arrive together through food. When nourishment supports energy flow and mental clarity at the same time, daily life often feels easier to navigate. Whenever fish becomes part of a regular routine, questions about safety naturally come up. Many people worry about mercury and long-term exposure, especially later in life. This is where sardines tend to stand apart. They are small fish with short lifespans, living low on the marine food chain. Because of that, they typically carry much lower mercury levels than larger fish that live longer and eat other fish. Beyond personal safety, there is also the question of sustainability. Sardines reproduce quickly and exist in large populations, which allows them to be harvested with less strain on ocean ecosystems. For those who care about making choices that feel responsible as well as nourishing, this can offer some reassurance. Cost matters too, particularly for people living on a fixed income after retirement. Health decisions should not add financial pressure. Sardines offer a rare balance, providing meaningful nourishment without the expense that often comes with supplements or specialty foods. A few dollars can replace several bottles that might otherwise sit on the counter. Choosing them does not need to feel complicated. In the store, turning the can around and reading the ingredient list is often enough. A short list that names sardines, olive oil, or water, and salt is usually a good place to start. Olive oil can add flavor and satiety, while water-packed options feel lighter for some people. Eating them can stay simple as well. They can be enjoyed straight from the can, paired with toast, grains, or a small salad, fitting easily into familiar meals. A squeeze of lemon or a sprinkle of herbs can soften the flavor without effort. There are a few considerations worth keeping in mind. Sardines contain natural purines, so people with gout or a history of elevated uric acid may want to keep portions moderate and check what feels comfortable for them. For most, enjoying sardines once or twice a week fits naturally into a balanced routine. Practical choices often last longer than perfect plans. When you step back and look at the whole picture, a quiet pattern begins to appear. One simple food touching many parts of daily life. The heart supported through steady flow and energy. The bones nourished in a way that feels usable and natural. Blood sugar guided toward a calmer rhythm. And the brain given the building blocks it relies on to stay connected and clear. This is not about calling any food a miracle. There is no single ingredient that carries that kind of promise. What matters more is how the body responds to nourishment. It recognizes real food arrives with context, balance, and familiarity, shaped over time rather than engineered in isolation. For many decades, health conversations have often pointed toward pills. One bottle for this concern, another for that one. Over time, it can begin to feel like staying well requires constant effort and constant spending. Yet, science has a way of circling back to simpler ideas. The body tends to work best when it is supported, not pushed. Healthy aging does not have to feel complicated. It does not need to be expensive or overwhelming. Often, it grows out of small, steady choices that fit into real life and feel sustainable over the long term. If this helped you see food differently, you're welcome to stay with us. Thank you for spending this quiet moment together.